So she says, you shouldn't fire me for what I've been saying, that's not right. But also maybe fire Pedro for making comparisons as well. Because you see, these fucking hypocrites have double standards all the time.
Yep.
And that's why, ladies and gentlemen, we will no longer be talking about Gina Carano.
Hey.
That's the end of that shit. I'm assuming you saw some of the responses to her sit-down reveal interview with Ben Shapiro, telling all. And it's basically just the usual. It's just the usual, like, far-right internet talking points. That's all it was.
Ben Shapiro.
Oh, God.
Oh,
Ben, don't you think that people affected by global warming on the coast will sell their houses, Shapiro?
Ben Shapiro is a clown. He's like a tiny clown.
Ben Shapiro's what happens when idiots put another idiot on a pedestal just because they dress nicer than them. And suddenly that makes them an authority on things. It's weird. He has an interesting name, he wears shirts, and he's also an idiot. That's pretty much it. Like, I don't get his appeal other than he says what other idiots are thinking.
Put it on your
and
CV.
People will be like, hey,
shirts.
Don't call people with different political opinions than you an idiot. It's not about political opinions, mate. The dude thinks that if your house gets flooded by global warming, you would have sold it to someone else and that deals with the problem. The man's an idiot. And Gina Carano is proving herself to be just every bit as much of a hypocrite as all these fuckers.
Listen,
by saying, hey, don't fire me for my opinions, but if you're going to fire me for my opinions, you should also fire Pedro. It's like, no. If you believe that you shouldn't be fired for your quote-unquote opinions, you shouldn't also then advocate for someone else to be fired. Cancel culture isn't real, but you guys sure as hell seem to want to make it a real thing.
Yeah.
Oh my God. I hate people. But you know what I love?
No. Oh, no, I've lost sight of all the things that we love.
I love you,
Oh.
and I love your face, and I love seeing it once a week. And it's actually been longer than a week, because we pre-recorded last week's episode ahead of time.
Yes.
And because last week's episode was 3 hours plus, this week's is going to be 6 minutes long.
Hey!
To even out the time. I also love making the Big Damn Cast, which is what you're listening to,
Yes.
ladies and gentlemen. Nerdy news, geeky gossip, stuff that's fit to fill your time as we stare into an endless void. Or is it endless? There be deadlines. There be hope on the horizon. If people still do the fucking stuff where they're meant to spray their hands and wear their mask, you bastards. Anyway. My name is Chris. For fuck's sake, Bojo, comb your hair, Johnson.
I have many names.
Some call me Marjorie Keek. Some call me Klaatu, the Dreamweaver.
I have names older than language.
Some call me the Bringer of Corn. There are those who call me You unlocked a Mighty Boosh memory, and for that, you will pay dearly.
No! No!
To answer the question, gentle listener, how are we doing?
Yeah.
About as good as you.
Yeah.
So there you go.
About the same.
Yeah. I think we're
About
all
the
on the
same.
same. On the same
you know where
goddamn
we are?
wavelength.
Think about where you are. We're about there.
Yeah.
We're about there.
Yeah, about there. Yeah. But wearing funnier hats.
No, I'm not wearing a hat.
I'm wearing one, but not on my head.
Hey!
News.
Cockhat!
There's pop culture news, and that's what we're here to talk about. Cockhat. Oh my god. you ever see? Like, seldom does the internet produce stuff that is just 100% pure and wonderful all the time. But one of those things
Never.
is pictures of snakes in top hats.
That's pretty good.
Where people put like little hats on snakes, and it's just like, that is cute. That is bizarrely cute. They've not evolved for these.
What about?
But they look so dapper.
What about pictures of people playing guitar solos but replacing the guitars with slugs?
Is that a thing?
That's a thing.
Oh my! Well, I know what I'm doing tonight.
Slug solos.
I know what I'm doing tonight. Do you think their slug solos will get DMCA struck on a Twitch live stream? Did you hear about that? Oh my god!
Yeah.
So BlizzCon news. Overwatch 2 still happening for somebody who plays Overwatch. Yay! Activision is still a garbage company. Blizzard is still a garbage company, but I look forward to playing the game at a reduced price after a while of it being out. They revealed new character costumes. They're not that different, really.
Nope.
McCree is strangely less brown. which is interesting. And as part of BlizzCon, Metallica played a concert, and BlizzCon was on Twitch. And halfway through one of the songs, it started playing covered up like copyright-free music because the bots and software covered it up. Oh my lord! Oh my word! Okay, so I mean the Schadenfreude of Metallica, who are a big part of the start of the archaic version of DMCA software being put in place for music copyright. The beauty of them. I'm trying to say this. Matt showed me pictures of people playing slugs instead of guitars. God damn it. Prince looked like he was having a whale of a time.
I'm not sorry.
The fact that Metallica, one of the artists responsible for sort of bringing in this rather broken version of DMCA in the first place, getting DMCA struck and their music covered up during a Twitch stream. In the words of the late great Bart Simpson, the ironing is delicious. Funny. It was funny. It was fucking funny. Has there been any more game news this week? Oh, PlayStation VR. They are releasing a brand new version of it for PS5. It's a completely retuned facility. No word yet on whether there'll be backwards compatibility for the older stuff and the older hardware for previous VR games, but there is an increased number of games like Resident Evil, Biohazard on the PS4 that will be utilising play this in third person or first person or VR modes, including the upcoming Ratchet and Clank title, which I'm like, wait, what?
Rift Apart!
Yeah, that one has me intrigued.
Yeah,
I'm like,
that
wait, first person VR Ratchet and Clank where you're jumping through dimensions. You had my curiosity, PlayStation. Now you have... Well, you have none in stock, so...
Colour me sceptical. Sceptical and puce.
We'll have to see in the holes. They've also said that they're going to continue to do PlayStation Plus. And I thought, weird that they're pointing that out. Was that ever in doubt? That PlayStation Plus would no longer be a thing? Or is it that there are not many titles coming out on the PS5 scheduled at the moment, mostly because it's in its early days?
Yeah, I think it's...
Not many people have it, and the PlayStation 5 also comes with the PlayStation Plus collection, which is 20 giant full-length campaign games from the PS4 generation.
I think it's going to be more the case of it's going to be a crossover like it was with the end of the PS3, beginning of the PS4 for quite a while.
Yeah.
So probably just saying that that's going to continue on. Because, of course, a lot of the PlayStation Plus games that are going to come along are going to be PS4 games with PS5 upgrades. So, for example...
it's like this month Control Ultimate Edition.
Yeah. So...
Yeah.
It'll be more of that, I imagine.
Fair they does. It just seemed very odd that they have to point it out. It's almost like, oh, that thing that we said is a feature. It's not going anywhere.
It's not it's not for us, Christopher.
Didn't think it was gonna. Why are you bringing it up?
It's for people who don't follow things.
Well, also Stadia's dead. Well, it's not, but
they've ceased internal
working with any developers. Yeah. So, unless they're repackaging third-party stuff.
That's always been the case with Google. Google try things, and if they're not a hit within 6 months, they shut them.
Some of our listeners will probably never really have heard or have forgotten, and this will unlock a memory, of Google Glass.
Nope.
For a year, that was the thing.
Google Plus.
But you'd never see a fucker wearing it, but it was the thing. I never saw one in real life outside of in a store.
I think they were always, prototypes. You could buy them, but they were, beta versions.
Yeah. And then it got replaced with the It got replaced with the iWatch, which ultimately did everything that the Google Glass did. Well,
apart from having a display that you wear on your face, which I think was kind of the.
You could do that. You can do that with Google Watch,
hang on,
with Apple Watch. As I'm going to display to you now.
The Google Glass does. It
yes,
doesn't
it
do
does.
anything
Watch.
the Google Glass does.
Watch? I'm going to demonstrate for you, and then the audio descriptive for the hard of hearing at home will be just told what's happening.
All right, okay.
So this is how you take the tech of the Apple Watch and implement it in the exact same way as Apple Glass and Google Glass, those sorts of things. You ready?
No. No.
Now, for those at home, I'm holding my wrist an inch from my eye.
No, but then what's also in front of your face?
Yeah, but are you telling me someone who's looking at a bunch of data on a lens is going to pay any attention to a level higher in terms of awareness than somebody putting their watch right up to their face?
I think you will be more aware, yes, especially if it's transparent or in the corner. Also, Google Glass has cameras.
For?
I'm not saying that it's a good idea.
Like,
I'm not arguing that Google Glass is like a superior piece of technology. I'm just saying the Apple Watch is not a replacement for it.
For those who don't know, back in 2015, Matt bought shares in Google Glass.
Shares.
He's been trying to ship 3 crates of them ever since. He mostly sells them at Halloween parties for people with last-minute costumes as Terminator shades.
Terminator shades. No, stop.
I'd buy one just for that.
Christopher, I need you to stop.
Oh?
Like Harry Shearer stopped voicing Dr. Hibbert in The Simpsons, so Kevin Michael Richardson can take over.
That was a segue.
That was a segue. The segue was, in fact, the entire segment, because I have nothing other to say about it, and then it's happened. There we go.
Well, from the point of view, I mean, we are both voice actors. We have performed vocally on radio and in animation.
I'm an alleged
we are
voice actor at this point.
Has your voice gone out on radio in productions?
Not for a while.
But has it gone out on radio in productions?
Yes.
You're a voice actor. So, we can offer the POV that, yeah, if it's an ensemble cast and your character is, from a certain place around the world or whatnot, like, and that is how the character's written, but they have they're like one line of dialogue in one episode, it's more reasonable to ask a member of your ensemble cast to just do that one voice. Because then it's one voice, it's done, this, that, and the other. Some people may still have issues with that, but I don't think, personally, my philosophy, I don't think that's a problem if your voice actor in your ensemble cast is covering a voice for one line. You should have enough diversity in your ensemble cast or on your recurring cast, at the very least, to maybe plug that gap in the most ethical way. But if you don't, and you would say, like, you had a cast and none of your cast, were correct to voice, say, Mahatma Gandhi, but you had a throwaway gag with one line from Mahatma Gandhi, then you just decide who's going to do it, you do it, and then you move on. And as simple as that. But if Gandhi was in every goddamn episode, you need to cast appropriately. And as the years have gone by, we have, of course, like, hammered that in more because people become more aware of voice actors and voice casts and things like that. You've also had voice actors fighting against being cast out of type when it is actually... Because that's the thing, you're going to have idiots going like, well, so, like, is Nancy Cartwright technically a bad person because she's not really a 10-year-old boy? No, she's a bad person because she's a Scientologist.
Hey!
But that's not the issue. The issue is, and The Simpsons and the problem with Apu documentary like highlighted this a couple of years ago, is that, like, Hank Azaria is not an Indian man. He voiced Apu for over 20 years on The Simpsons.
Yeah.
If Apu was an occasional throwaway line, maybe once a season, that wouldn't be an issue. But it's kind of weird that it went on for as long as it did. Now, it never struck me as weird for a long time. Like, it still doesn't strike a lot of people as weird, because we don't really think about it. But then when you think about it, maybe watch that documentary, you get the perspective in that of a lot of American Indian and American Asian comics and their experiences growing up alongside the show being a big part of popular culture within America, and Apu being, like, essentially like the only sort of mainstream Indian representation on American television for a very long time. You realise that, this was uncomfortable for a lot of people. So that's what you do, guys. You listen, you learn, you change. You figure it out, you work out what's the most reasonable approach, but you change. And even someone now, like Harry Shearer, who is a very sort of stubborn, set-in-his-ways performer, just look up any stories about his contracts battles with Fox over The Simpsons. Like, he wanted more money to appear in The Simpsons ride, for example. And Universal theme parks, like, got to the point where his demands were, as far as they were concerned, so egregious that they just went, well, we're not going to put you in the ride. And he went, that's fine by me. Like, if you're not willing to pay 10 times the amount you were offering, then that's fine by me if you don't. So if you go on the Simpsons ride in the Universal Parks, in the queue, in clips and stuff showing on the TVs from the shows and this, that, and the other, you've got plenty of his characters. In the ride, not a single one of them talks. In fact, the original plot was going to have the ride take place in the nuclear power plant, but they changed it to have it take place in Krusty Land because they realised if we've not got Harry, then we lose Smithers and Burns. We lose Lenny. Like, do you know what I mean? You lose so many characters who are essential to doing a power plant storyline. So, hey, Dan, you're already signed on. Do you want to play Homer and Krusty in the ride?
Yeah,
right, come on, let's go. So they did it that way. But even Harry Shearer, someone very set in his ways, has also looked at this and gone, yeah, things need to change. Carl was recast a while ago.
Yeah.
Carl's a Hank Azaria part. I don't know if Apu's been recast yet, but Hank Azaria stepped down from the role.
I'm sure we would have seen an announcement if there'd been one.
And now Harry Shearer steps down from Dr. Hibbert. And there are so many people getting angry about it who haven't watched a single fucking new episode of The Simpsons in 15 years, so they can shut the hell up.
Yeah, because if they had, they wouldn't care about The Simpsons.
It's not like they're going to go back. It's not like they're going to go back and dub hundreds of episodes. Like that performance still exists. And again, none of these actors came from it from a POV to do point of view to do harm. None of them ever did it that way. But they've gone, this isn't right. Right.
They did it in
one. Mike Henry did it 2 years ago. Mike Henry stepped down from the role of Cleveland Brown on Family Guy and all related projects. Cleveland's had his own show. Like, this is a very popular character within that world. And Mike Henry went, you know what? You don't need a middle-aged white guy voicing a middle-aged black guy if he's going to be in it all the time.
Yeah.
And he cited the problem with Apu documentaries. Like, it made me think a lot, and I was like, I don't think I want to do this. It doesn't sort of feel right, really. So the guy they cast is an African-American actor who does a insanely spot-on Cleveland impression. They spotted him online, auditioned him, and then they were like, yeah, he's a good actor. You're on. So, like, he's now a recurring member of the voice cast and voices Cleveland, while Mike Henry, of course, still voices a shitload of characters in the show. It's not like he's gone away and lost a job. He just doesn't voice Cleveland anymore. And in this case, it's Dr. Hibbert. Other case in point, he's been recast with Kevin Michael Richardson. The casting of Kevin Michael Richardson in anything instantly makes it a better thing.
It's a net plus, yeah.
So what's the problem? Like, it's going to change it. All he's going to do is go at the end of a line whenever they visit the hospital. There you go. Shut up and move on, people.
They did it with Big Mouth. In the last season of Big Mouth. Because Jenny Slate voiced a mixed race character on that. And they just changed the voice actress mid-season.
Yeah.
Like, they had it, it's a fourth wall breaking show, so they did like sort of have a moment of the Jenny Slate still doing the voice, being like, isn't it problematic that I'm voiced by a woman in her 30s? And then
they full on acknowledge it, and then the voice changes.
And then later on in the season, like the voice changes, and then no one really comments on it. I don't think after that. But
it's because it's not a show that people decided that they want to protect, even though they've not watched a new episode in 2 decades.
Yeah.
So
exactly
ridiculous. The Simpsons is, of course, available on Disney Plus, as of the recording
everything
of this episode
now. I've
on
not
the
even
23rd.
checked out Star yet.
Yeah, Star is on there, so if you want to go on the Disney streaming service,
I'm going to bring it up and have a browse while we're talking.
And watch Family Guy, a show which has several jokes, very nasty jokes at the expense of the Walt Disney Corporation, and in particular Walt Disney himself, then go ahead. It's going to be interesting, because a part of the upgrade to Disney Plus as well is the parental controls have been strengthened, so you can customize them a lot more, which is good because Star is not content meant for kids, though there is some kid-friendly content on Star. If your kid can handle The Simpsons, for example, you could introduce them to Futurama, which is on Star.
Modern Family.
Modern Family's on there. So there's like a mix of stuff. But it's going to be interesting how many kids watch Family Guy just cause, and then see like the countless Nazi jokes and everything. It's just going to be like, this is going to be hard to explain.
I'm just taking a quick look through some of the stuff now, and they have wildly diluted the quality ratio of Disney Plus's content with some of this stuff. Ooh.
Matt, last week we watched 3 Fox movies to review, and I came out of that going, I don't feel good anymore.
I feel bad,
So-
actually. I feel actually bad. Oh,
So-
yay. Cult classic, under cult classics.
Go on.
Yeah. Some of these are crackers, like, the Baz Luhrmann Romeo and Juliet, Edward Scissorhands.
Yay.
Waitress. Waitress is great.
Which one's Waitress?
It's Kerry Russell, works in a
oh,
diner.
yes. Yeah.
Leaves her husband while she's pregnant, has a steamy affair with Nathan Fillion.
And then they turn it into a musical.
Terrible musical.
Yeah.
Very, very, very nice, sweet film. Terrible musical. And The League of Extraordinary Gentlemen.
Oh, Christ.
Under cult classics.
That's it. That's it. I'm moving to Amazon Prime.
Well, yeah, you should move to Amazon Prime because then you can watch all the Leprechaun films.
Oh, shut up. They're all on there.
I think so. I watched 1 and 2 on there yesterday because it was my day off and I hate myself. And
You decided to celebrate by watching Warwick Davis having fun and being the only one having fun on set.
He's having such a great time. Bless him.
I've only seen 2. I've seen the first one and I've seen Leprechaun in the Hood.
The second one is not good. I mean, none of them are good.
None of them are good.
So the first 3 are on there.
Yeah.
In Space isn't on there.
That's the 4th one, right?
That's Leprechaun.
That-
Literally,
the 5th one.
Leprechaun 4 in space.
In space.
Let me see. Included with Prime. Oh, yeah. So it's only the first 3 that are included with Prime. There is Leprechaun Origins.
Oh, that's the
Which is the
WWF
sort of
Studio reboot that was like all modern reboots. They say it's a prequel, and then it comes out and it's like it's not. We're doing it all over again, basically. It's like okay.
And then there's an unrelated film called Vengeance of the Leprechaun. But you gotta get in there fast because they're leaving Prime in 5 days.
Yeah, I'm washing my hair for 5 days.
I'm gonna have to try and fit in Leprechaun 3 in the
as
next 5 days.
As I said to you before this recording, why do you watch Leprechaun in 2021 if you want to see early 90s Jennifer Aniston's lovely legs? You can just Google them.
Yeah, you say this, but I'm not. And Jennifer Aniston, woo and all that, but I've never been much of a Jennifer Anis fan.
Or a Jennifer Annie stan.
Ah, there it is.
We may or may not have said this before the show and both made a mental unspoken note to bring these gags back.
Doesn't work if you point it out, Chris.
But if we're not here to make you all at least go, huh, then what are we here for?
Oh well, begs the question: what are we here for? What are we here for? We're here for Mortal Kombat coming to HBO Max. That's what we're here for.
Mortal Kombat.
We got a trailer for the new Mortal Kombat movie.
The lack of that music anywhere in it means it's a 0 out of 10.
I know, it looks so stupid though. I love it.
So there are 2 trailers available online. There's the trailer and the Red Band trailer.
Red Band all the way, baby.
There is no point in watching the non-Red Band trailer, folks, because this is not a movie for kids. And it's Mortal Kombat, for fuck's sake. I'm not like... For me, I was a Street Fighter kid as a kid. When I was a kid, it was a hand-me-down Super Nintendo from a neighbour, and it was Street Fighter 2 Turbo and Killer Instinct. And
Killer
I
Instinct
freaking loved them.
Bad.
It is, but I liked some of the characters. But like those were my beat-em-ups when I was younger. Mortal Kombat and Tekken were sort of like adjacent to that, and I was aware of them, but I never really played them. And then I've started to catch up on Mortal Kombat in recent years, in no small part thanks to NetherRealm's work on the most recent titles and the Injustice series and things like that. So I was just like, yeah, all right, I'll give the trailer a watch. I would like to watch this very much now, please.
It looks
It
so
looks fucking
stupid.
ridiculous.
I love it.
Like, but it knows it's over the top.
Oh, yeah.
That's what I like about it. It's the trailer is basically a roll call of the characters that are featuring in the film. And even then, some of them don't name themselves, but you see them. So it's like, oh shit, you're in this. I mean,
some of them do very deliberately name themselves.
The most embarrassing one is Sub-Zero, who it looks like is the villain he's the antagonist of this film.
Yeah.
Like, he's sort of the main threat. Although everything else and, Shao Kahn and all that, like, that's all being built up and exists, but, like, he's the...
Well, you see him take Jax's arms in the Red Band trailer, which is... pretty neat.
Yeah. But toward the end, he just randomly goes like, I am Sub-Zero. And you're like, and? Like, I mean, I know you're Sub-Zero, because I know who you are, so it's just weird. It's just weird. That's, I don't know. I'll be like a Beauty and the Beast trailer with Belle just turned to camera going, I am the beauty in the title. They're nodding. And the title
it's in one of the songs, for crying out loud.
Beauty is Belle, the character. Barely even friends. Dan Stevens on some stilts.
Oh, this weekend gone, we finally watched the taste of the remake out with the original, and on watching it, I was just like, why did they bother remaking this? This is still perfect.
Isn't it beautiful?
It's
so
perfect.
Good. It's so freaking good. And there's so many things you notice on rewatches as an adult that you just didn't pick up on as a kid. Just like the way the sheep behave in the town square. And just all these little... And they're just castings like Tony J as the asylum owner. He's only got like 3 lines and he's brilliant. I love it. She's like, yes! I love you, Tony J. Come back in a couple movies' time and play the best fucking most underrated villain in all of Disney canon, please. And get to sing. And then fill in for Shere Khan in a shit sequel in a decade's time. But the point is, he does a good job. But the point is...
The point is,
don't watch The Jungle Book 2 or Return to Neverland. But...
the point is, at the end of Scorpion's spear...
So it's Sub-Zero and Scorpion at the end, because of course they're going to be in the trailer having a fight. And, Sub-Zero, cuts Scorpion, a bunch of his blood flies up in the air, and everything sort of slow-mo's for a moment. He freezes the blood into a point, grabs it, and then stabs him with the dagger made of his own blood.
It's beautiful. It's poetry in motion. It really is.
It's so fucking stupid. I love it.
It's the silliest thing you will see ever. That
moment in the trailer was where it's like the final kind of glory shot before the title card, and I just went, yeah. Like, HBO Max... They're sort of slowly revealing what their release slates are in other countries and how that's going to work. I will very happily put notifications on to find out when we know what's going on with this one, because it's next month, right? It's like end of March, April time. It's not far away.
Out pretty soon, yeah.
So I will nom that up like it was a goddamn truck stop burger, please and thanks. I'm very much looking forward to Mortal Kombat. Do you know what else is coming to HBO Max soon, Matt? You may not have heard of this. It's a very small project that definitely was made for art and not to get a load of people to sign up to a streaming service a year in advance.
Do we have to talk
pay
about
lots
this?
of money? Well, I just want to touch on it very briefly.
All right, you're on a timer. You've got 3 minutes.
We'd watched the Justice League trailer. I think we talked about it. No, we didn't. It came out before the last episode, so we've not really talked about it properly, have we? Anyway, it came out... And it was a thing, and it's still grim, and it's still stupid. And,
it's in 4:3!
We are...
It's in 4:3! I don't care about IMAX, this and that.
The exact ratio is 1:33, young man, for IMAX. But of course, has everyone got their IMAX screens in their back room ready? What the fuck? It's so stupid. But anyway, we've already said that we didn't care for the theatrical cut. We don't think this is going to make it better. There's a lot of issues with it all. Like, if you're going to... Ray Fisher, we absolutely stand with him, but if you are going to do accountability over entertainment, then why did the reshoots hire and pay money to Amber Heard and Jared Leto to shoot more scenes? 2 people with very checkered pasts and presents in regards to sexual misconduct and abuse. But and then also the really fucking embarrassing bit where the Joker in these future timeline thing is like, we live in a society that doesn't allow, and it's like, no, you've put that line in there for the first bit because you think you're trolling people, when really you just look so stupid. There was a fantastic tweet I saw yesterday that summed it up fantastically and beautifully and wonderfully and gorgeously, and I'm going to pull it up because I need to get the exact phrasing right because it will never be phrased better than the original poster.
Okay.
And they put, let me bring it up, it's not still on my feed, Hamish Steele on Twitter put out, finally, Jared Leto's Joker will no longer be the worst Joker now that we have Jared Leto's Joker. Right? I couldn't paraphrase that. It's too perfect. Thank you, Hamish Steele.
Wearing a crown of thorns.
Yeah, well, it looks like from some of the photos Zack Snyder's released, it looks like he had a little corner where he got the people involved in the reshoots to pose. Because he's claimed that Ben's not shot any new footage, despite the fact that Batman interacts with the Joker and that footage didn't exist. So, unless Ben Affleck doesn't say any fucking words and he's all been superimposed into shots from other footage that hasn't been used,
it's just going to be like
that's bullshit.
Like the meme of the John Travolta from Pulp Fiction.
Yeah, I'd love that.
Ben Affleck.
But in those pics, you've got Amber Heard in that corner. You've got Ray Fisher in his mocap suit, like in that corner. So it's obviously just like on set, like he's taking a stylized photograph portrait of everyone.
Yeah.
And he's taken several of Jared Leto. Several. In the trailer, we see him in a SWAT uniform. In these photos, he's in like a butcher's smock. And in the latest one, like you said, he's wearing a crown of thorns. Which is gross, because Jared Leto actually is trying to lead a cult of underage rock fans who fancy him.
I hate it so much.
Whose DMs he jumps into. Allegedly, if you count all the people who've come forward and said, yeah, Jared Leto's been DMing me. So, yeah, Zach. Yeah, you feel that ego, Zach. You give him a crown of thorns. Fucking hell. I can't wait for the glorious mess of the movie, because here's the thing, there might be stuff we see in it where we go, do you know what, that was kind of cool, do you know what, that was better, that was interesting, that's not for me, but fair enough. But I think we're more looking forward to just the morbid dissection of like, how did this come to be, why, what possible reason does he have to think this is like gonna change cinema? And if you noticed, Zack Snyder's doing a lot of press where he's really getting in on the whole, well, we're probably not going to get a sequel. And like really kind of hammering home, like, well, they're probably not going to give us a sequel. Well, we probably won't get to carry on this universe. And it's like, so is that your next phase is you want a bunch of people to start screaming at the studio for you to carry on your version? Okay, sure. Oh, not helped by the fact that Patty Jenkins and James Wan have come out and said that when they made Wonder Woman and Aquaman respectively, they made it with Zack's canon in mind, unquote.
Zack's canon.
Meaning the theatrical one isn't canonical, and you're like, oh, for fuck's sake.
Zack's canon. Can we not talk about Zack's canon ever again, thanks?
Oh, God.
Can we fire him out of it?
Hey!
Can we fire Zack out of his own canon?
Spaghetti. Oh, there is some good DC news that made me very happy this week. Nope. Like, super happy.
You're lying.
No, true. A new digital first comic resurrecting a comic book series that was teased a couple of years back and then cancelled, and an additional one. So following in the footsteps,
pitched it, and I don't think it got picked up first time round.
Shame, because the teaser image that was put with it was gorgeous.
Yeah, but it was part of the pitch.
But the cover reveals for these official runs are fucking stunning. Following the success of Batman 66, a comic book series that's been digital first and mini-series and trade paperbacks, following the further adventures of the Adam West, Burt Ward, Batman Robin incarnations, and Wonder Woman 77, which has followed the Linda Carter Wonder Woman in brand new adventures in comic book form. We are now getting Superman 78 and Batman 89. So fantastic. Chris Reeve's Superman continues, and Michael Keaton's Batman continues. Both seem to be taking the stance that, like the Superman one, it seems, is following on from Superman 2. I guess that way so it can be ground within that canon and it doesn't have to go too far out of that world.
It doesn't have to deal with the events of Superman 3 and Superman 4.
Or Superman Returns, for that matter. It can ignore them all.
Yes.
Whereas Batman 89 is continuing on from 92's Batman Returns, so the Batman Forever and Batman and Robin don't count, meaning that they can keep it Keaton. They could do the Billy D. Williams version of Two-Face, as was the plan originally.
Yes.
And so much more. And these are digital first books coming out toward the summer, with trade paperbacks of the first volumes scheduled for, I think it's September and October, respectively. I don't know which one is coming out first. But I'm really looking forward to these. Oh, yeah. My days. Like, mostly because I read the first, like, year of 66, and it's really good. Like, it's so much fun. Mike Aldred illustrated the majority of it, and then, like, they did the Ralph Garman and Kevin Smith miniseries, a sequel to the Green Hornet episodes, so it's another Green Hornet crossover, and that's Alex Ross did all the covers for that. It's stunning. It's just like, this is artists and writers who love these characters, and probably because they grew up on these incarnations, and now they want to tell stories with these versions of the characters. I mean, obviously there's some cross-platform synergy going on. Keaton's Batman will be appearing in the Flash film, so, you know, they want to obviously capitalize on that. Maybe that's why they finally went, okay, we'll do it. But hey, if it means we get more Keaton's Batman, I'm happy. Just don't resurrect the Joker or the Penguin. Keep them dead. Keep them dead. Do more interesting things. Don't be pussies. Do you think Superman will get to fight any other villain outside of Lex Luthor?
Nope.
Showing up in everything.
But if we get Gene Hackman in a robot suit, then I'll be a happy man.
Lex Luthor, the greatest criminal mind of a generation. Like, yes, you are. You narcissistic weirdo. Bring him on.
Speaking of,
I bet you we at least get a section of the city named Otisburg in a storyline where they take over part of it. Sorry, I now want to scream Otisburg, but I'm not going to because it's 8:30 in the evening. Well, my neighbours are old.
Speaking of weird narcissism,
my neighbours.
Let's talk about WandaVision.
Do 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 do, or rather, do 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 do. Guys, spoiler time.
For episode 7 of WandaVision.
WandaVision. The Modern Family episode.
/ The Office.
/ The Office with the title sequence. Yeah. Holy shit! Yes, yeah. Also interesting, like Vision buggered off. Like, still didn't come back. This is the first episode where the two of them didn't share a scene together.
Yeah.
And as a result, the titles were just Wanda, and then the very last one was WandaVision. It's like, interesting. Okay. Yeah. Right. Let's talk the first 25 minutes. Let's talk the first 25 minutes. So,
well, we got the big reveal of who Monica's aerospace engineer friend is, and it's no one we know.
Yeah, which is
fine
with, oddly,
because
it has spawned a meme because so many people online now are joking that everything is Reed Richards.
Although I think that's deliberate as well. I think that was deliberately set up and not paid off until now to keep you thinking, to distract from the enormous bombshell that everyone kind of knew was coming that comes later in the episode.
Yeah. But I like it. I like the space rover. I think that's a great plot idea. Like, she basically recruits help from aerospace engineer team at Sword, who are sort of... It's not like Sword's in factions, but it's someone who obviously knows Monica and was very fond of her mum.
Yeah.
And sort of is more loyal to her mum's way of running things. So, yeah, there's this extra little Sword camp set up where they get the space rover, which is a gorgeous design as well. That's a really cool design for the vehicle, and then it looks extra great when it doesn't quite make it through the hex and comes out, and the front of it's turned into like a sort of standard car, right up to like the middle wheel. It's like the middle wheels have got only half a wheel because it's only half transformed.
Yeah, it's a neat
that
effect.
Was really cool. And then Monica's like, I've been through before, I'm going to go through it, because it seems that the more force they put into the hex now, the more resistance it puts up. So Monica theorizes that, like, if she walks through, it'll put up less resistance. But they know that it could still harm her. However, she's going off the fact that, as we've learned, she's been through it twice, and as a result, has like her body's changed. So she figures, look, if I go through it, the worst that's going to happen is it's going to affect my body a bit more, but I know I can get through because I've done it before. And it seems like it's changing her in a more interesting way than just like feeling off.
Which, as soon as Darcy gets that line in the previous episode, I'm like, oh, that's how they're going to make her into Photon / Spectrum / Captain Marvel / whatever she ends up being.
I think they're going for Photon because her mum's nickname is Photon. In Captain Marvel, on her plane on the side, her mum's middle name, looking at the thing, it was Photon. So it's like, okay. But also her costume, like when she takes the spacesuit off and it has like the sort of aerodynamic suit underneath, the black and the white color scheme. It's like, oh, this is really fucking cool that they're doing that. Like, WandaVision is giving birth to another hero in the MCU, and it's Photon. It's like, holy shit! And there are people online every week, millions of people invested in Monica Rambeau. And every now and again, I do have to pinch myself and go, are we really at this point in pop culture? Well, like, the world at large is excited for like things like Monica Rambeau, Korg.
Listen.
Do you know what I mean? Like, people know what Stormbreaker is. Like, this is where we're at now.
All this is leading to the next wave film.
Yeah, that's true.
Next wave, Agents of Hate.
And then we're going to get Excalibur. And oh, fucking no. The Superior Foes of Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Let's just pick the weirdest teams. Let's pick the weirdest fucking teams. Exiles, but like the C-list lineup. But it's just, it's mental to think we're at that point now where like the world is invested in Jimmy Woo. Do you know what I mean? It's like, here's where we are. This is mad. I love
Jimmy
this.
Woo spin-off series.
Yeah, they want an X-Files Twin Peaks show where Jimmy Woo, Monica Rambeau, and Dr. Darcy Lewis like investigate weird shit in America. And I'm like, I'd watch it. Speaking of Darcy, Sword got enveloped by the Hex, and we saw the agents and their tents turning into circus tents and clowns and jugglers. So we see what happened to her because she was handcuffed to the van.
Mm-hmm.
And that seems to have informed what became of her because she's an escapologist.
She's the escape artist.
Which is really... But also that makes sense because she's the one who's going to help Vision kind of crack everything. And
very good.
Just is... Oh, God. And she's basically just dressed in a marching band uniform. She looks like she's dressed as comic book Rocket Raccoon.
Yeah. It's very that Abnett Guardians.
It's just super cute. And also she's for the first like 5 minutes of it, she's in sitcom brainwashed part of this world mode, which of course is utilizing Kat Dennings, who has the experience of like 7 seasons of Two Broke Girls under her belt. So she just fits naturally into the sitcom world, especially a 2000s sitcom, 2000s 2010s vibe. And we have Vision sort of going like, no, like, you saw each other, we made a connection. She's like, okay. It's like, no, not like that. So he kind of snaps her out of the trance, and he's like, right, what's happening? And finally, Vision starts to learn what's going on from the perspective of the viewer. And also starts to question himself and the ridiculousness of his apparent previous life and the amount of things that have happened, and everyone who's followed all the movies is going, yep, uh-huh. Okay. But they make it, what's great about the writing is they really make a focus on what's important here is you died, she loves you, you love her, we need to find a way to come out of this for the better. That's the key thing, not have you all been paying attention to all these movies? It's just, once again, like all the good Marvel stuff, if you've seen the previous shit, it's a bonus that enhances the experience of the thing you're watching. But it's not the core part of the story. Vision's asides to camera are brilliant in this. Paul Bettany, even though he spends all of this one in full Vision makeup, gets to do so much Jim Halperting. Yeah. It's nuts.
As everyone does.
Yeah.
Particularly
he gets those glorious shots. Oh, yeah. Oh, God. Oh, hang on. Weirdly, my highlight of the episode, aside from what we're going to get to, was Vision ending the interview segment taking off his clip mic, which I didn't even realise was there until he took it off. And I'm like, oh yeah, he's got a clip mic on his cape. And then banging his head on the boom as he stood up. Just like swatting it away. It was brilliant.
It's very good.
The asides for Wanda, where like it's just the framework of these sitcoms. And again, that's genius because it's utilising the sitcoms to reinforce what's happening. And in this case, it's these little asides. Okay, it's the Mondays. Am I right? And all these things. And then she starts to ask questions, and a voice behind the camera like prompts her a question, like it would to a piece to camera. But these shows don't ever have that. The Office and Modern Family and that, they don't have voices behind the camera say something. But these setups are usually that kind of exchange. So then when she sort of reacts to it, it's like, I'm sorry, wait, who are you? And then it moves on. So even Wanda doesn't really know what's going on anymore. But she doesn't come out at the end of it like, what just happened? It never happened. So something is completely in control of this world, and she is just a pawn in it. Her power is being used to make this world, but she's not in charge. So we've covered Monica, who's getting powers. She's getting all blue and glowy. And at least sort of her sort of strength has perked up because Wanda drops her, like using her powers, and Monica just superhero landings the ground, like very deliberately the superhero landing trope to make a point of, okay, they've got an ally in here. All right, okay.
Wanda's powers seem to be on the fritz.
Yeah, everything keeps changing. The Stork makes a reappearance. Which is quite fun. Like all the TV's changing and that, and that was spooky. That was really spooky. Like all the tech and everything just shifting around her. So she sends the boys off to be with Agnes. She says, "Don't worry, I don't bite." And then I actually did bite a child once. Yeah, you did, you fucking Hansel and Gretel motherfucker. Anyway, so Agnes takes the kids in with her for peanut butter and jelly sandwiches and to hang out with her rabbit, Senor Scratchy. Did you catch that?
That was in episode 2, I think, as well.
Yeah, it only hit me this week though. Scratchy. Nicola Scratch. Fucking Nicola Scratch. I mean, it won't be him. It's a reference. Like Sparky's a reference, but it's like, are you seriously referencing the Son of the Harkness? Okay. Short sometime Doctor Strange enemy, like Damon Hellstrom's like rival. You're really going there with all this stuff?
Yeah,
I guess you are.
They're really going there.
Because then Wanda goes to check out that the kids are okay. And they're not there. And there's a fly on the window. And a lot of people are already theorizing online that the devil first appears as a fly in Marvel Comics, and that devil turns out to be Mephisto. I think this is more just to show that something's off, but whatever, sure.
It wouldn't surprise me if Mephisto turns up.
At this stage, really, are you at that point now where you're like, yeah, fuck it, they're gonna do something that ballsy? Because
why not?
Because that's the thing. Wanda goes down into the basement and things get really gnarly and there's trees and the aspect ratio slowly changes as she makes the final steps into the basement, which is really fucking beautifully edited. It just sort of shifts very slightly. By the time she's in the dark, you haven't even realised that the bars are there until like the shot changes. You're like, oh shit, the bars are here. And she enters what can only be described as the cloister room. Lucy, when we were watching it, went, it's Tegan sat on a bench crying somewhere in the corner. Yeah, there's an air hostess got lost in here.
Yes, always. Tegan is always sat on a bench in a corner somewhere crying.
You mean on the run from your own people in a rickety old Hicksfield? Because that's the thing as well. Shortly before this, the broadcast stops. So outside, they can't get hold of it anymore. And my first thought was, is it because they're using the older analog equipment and this is now broadcasting on what would be HD? So if they like used a newer TV, they could see it. But same signals, and that's the thing. It's because the show doesn't need to be broadcast anymore. No one needs to see this because, well, Wanda gets down to the basement. We see some creepy skulls and antlers and all that sort of shit, potions and lotions
creepy
and
glowy
cases.
book.
Yeah, the Darkhold. Maybe
I can't really think of any other magical books in the Marvel universe off the top of my head.
I'm going to have to go back and check, but I've seen people online mention this week, after this episode, that in Doctor Strange, in the Sanctorum, there is a cabinet with a series of books in these individual sections, like sort of their own little places.
Yeah.
And one of them is empty, and the shape of the door is a hex. A hexagonal shape. And I'm like, if that's true, then fuck me sideways. That was shot 6 years ago. Now, they did that in Thor by putting the Infinity Gauntlet in the treasure room, but then made a joke later on about, like, fake. So it was just bait to make us think, oh, that's the Infinity Gauntlet. But if they've this time gone, no, do you know what? There's a book missing from the Sanctum Sanctorum, and it's the fucking Darkhold, and there it is. That would be impressive. That would be very impressive if they've done that far. But it would also make sense, considering the sequel to this show is the Doctor Strange sequel. So, yeah, it's Agatha Harkness, motherfuckers. We got it right. The rest of the internet has been deliberating too, but the clues, all the ones we kind of picked up on, were correct. Like the whole "she's in my head," no name, the driver's license, like lack of driver's license on Agnes's profile, and even as I was watching the episode, it hit me like a ton of bricks. Agatha Harkness.
Mm-hmm.
Her name is literally hidden in the middle of her name.
Yep.
That's insane, and genius, and simple, and brilliant. Why is this significant for those at home going, who? All Korath style or Stephen Toast, based on your choice. I once held on to Benedict Cumberbatch's balls for 4 hours.
Oh.
That's the real news we've not touched on. Toast of Tinseltown's been confirmed, and it's coming to the BBC, which means full uninterrupted half hours of Stephen Toast, which makes me happy. But anyway,
I wonder if Clem will make it over there.
Oh, I guarantee most of the supporting cast will end up being in it. If anything, just because they'd all go, wait, you want me to film in America for 3 weeks? Sure, fuck it, let's go. Let's go. You just got like what do you call it? Harry Peacock and Tracy Ann Oberman all on the phone, like, yeah, fuck it, let's go. I'll go to America for a bit, why not? So, yeah, Agatha Harkness, in the comics, we've touched on it briefly, but like she originated as a Fantastic Four character. She's not a bad guy, but she's
really
definitely mysterious. Yeah, she's mysterious, and she's facilitated hero and villain alike.
Mm-hmm.
She's not out for her own, but she there's some weird shit going on. Like she has a familiar who's a cat who He-Man style turns into a big fucking puma.
Yeah.
But in recent years, because she's only ever appeared in like 6 or 7 storylines ever. She doesn't show up a lot.
No, she was a regular supporting cast member for this Fantastic Four for
FF,
like a decade or so.
But in terms of after that, she's one of those characters who just from time to time it's like, oh shit, Agatha Harkness.
Well, she got killed off at the start of House of M, I think, and then didn't come back until recently.
She kept talking to Wanda, and then I think Nick Fury found her body, and it looked like she'd been dead for a while. So Wanda had been seeing her, like talking to her, but also at one point her cat was dead, and it's implied she killed her cat because like sacrificing her familiar boosted her powers. So you're like, well, you're not a bad guy, but you killed your fucking cat.
Weird, Mike.
And I killed Sparky too. So she's not a villain, but her son is. Nicholas Scratch is a villain. She's tangled with Mephisto. She's one of the original like Salem witches.
Yeah.
Part of like the Sisterhood of Seven or the Seven Sisters?
I'm not sure.
Who have done bad things. Ultimate Fantastic Four had Agatha Harkness in it. It was a mislead because for ages it was a youthful character, and then they eventually revealed that she looks youthful, but she is like, you know, as old as the Salem witch trials.
Yes.
And she was a being of magic, of like chaotic magic, that was also the other 6 of the 7 sisters. Okay. So the 7 sisters were actually this one creature, and they appeared as these various things. In that, they were villains, and it was a one-off story. So maybe they're leaning more into the Ultimate version. I mean, the MCU does that quite a bit, sort of costume designs and like Nick Fury as a whole and things like that. So maybe they're going there. I don't mind personally. I don't mind them retooling Agatha as a villain.
Well, I honestly don't mind else with her.
That's the thing. I don't mind it because maybe Catherine Hahn becomes the new Loki.
Oh,
maybe she rocks up in more than one thing. Because we know she makes a good Marvel villain. We fucking heard her do it as Olivia Octavius. So, like, you know, give us more Catherine Hahn. But that reveal. So Wanda gets downstairs. thingy, she says, "It's nice to. What was it? It's nice to. I'm Agatha Harkness. It's nice to finally meet you." Because obviously she's been playing Agnes this whole time.
Yeah.
And then she sort of like hypnotizes Wanda, and suddenly we see the title sequence
of Agatha all along,
which is hands down the best one of the whole fucking series.
It's perfect.
It's a Munsters homage for starters, which is beautiful, like the music and the font and everything. Just and the tune, it's good god, and that just the riff, like the bum bum ba bum bum ba da. It's like the riff, do 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 do. It's these really catchy sort of tunes and the spooky sound effects. But we see her through the episodes and what she's been doing, and including the first shot, which I love. We don't see her face when she first arrives in the title sequence for episode 1.
No.
We see a very older looking sort of costume, like shawl and braided sort of dreaded skirt and these older boots. And the magic kind of goes up. By the time it gets to the top of the shot, she's Agnes, the dotty neighbour from the first episode. And I'm like, I bet she's old as fucking balls. I bet at some point we're going to see Agatha Harkness looking like Agatha Harkness.
Complete with the McDonald's arch eyebrows.
Oh, God, yes. Yes, complete with the McDonald's arch eyebrows and the old lady clothes, but somehow the weirdly sinister vibe. Aunt May with magics. And then we just, oh my God, the not to sound like an episode of Drag Race, but like the look she's serving, for fuck's sake. Like, she's doing some powerful shit with just her expressions in this title sequence. Like, really kind of like, she keeps showing flashes of like, oh, it's just me, and then just resorting back to like, you fucking idiots, like right down the barrel of the camera. And we see her talking to, she's the one who prompts Wanda from behind the camera, and that's sort of the only kind of comedic shot in it. She kind of gives this little, like, wrap it up sort of gesture to the camera, like, we're fucking done now. Like, looking away from Vision as he's postulating when he's talking to her in the car in the Halloween Spooktacular, and she just sort of looks at the camera and is like, and then carries on. Like, it's great. She created Pietro, or at least brought a Pietro in. I like that because everyone again keeps going, Pietro's Mephisto. It's like, she's fucking conjuring him. Like, she's making him with her purple magic hand thing, or she's making it appear. Which I'm fine with. I'd be more than happy to find out that, like, there's no connection to the X-Men universe and they cast Evan Peters for us to fuck with us on purpose. I'd be fine with that. If it weren't for... And I killed Sparky too, which is obviously the big reveal, and everyone's already memeing it. And I cancelled Firefly, and all these things. One reveal in this episode, one little notion, plays on the idea that no, alternate realities are definitely still a big part of this. The commercial this week was for essentially it was paracetamol, it was ibuprofen, but it was called Nexus, and it was talking about like changing your reality for the better. And the nexus of all realities and Nexus beings are a part of the comics. The nexus of all realities is essentially the tapestry that holds the different dimensions together. Like, it's the thin line between us tumbling into an alternate universe at any given time. It is the walkway for beings that travel between existences. There are Nexus beings that play on reality. Wanda's mutant power in the comics is like, hex magic, which is basically short term for she can fuck with reality on a small scale. Or in stories like House of M, on a big fucking catastrophic scale. But she can fuck with reality. There are Nexus beings like that do that. They imply that a lot of magic beings are Nexus beings, so you could buy that Agatha Harkness in the comics is possibly a Nexus being, because magic might be about bending reality. Like, certain sorcerers are about bending reality. The Man-Thing is like the nexus of all realities. He's like a Nexus being that is so intrinsically linked to the web of existence that if you killed the Man-Thing, you would splinter the universe.
He's the guardian of the Nexus of all realities.
He's the guardian of the Nexus.
The actual Nexus of all realities itself is in the Everglades.
And that's why he wanders the swamps. But no one confront him, Matt, because all who know fear burn at the touch of the Man-Thing, and that's not a porn.
Giant-sized Man-Thing.
Giant-sized Man-Thing. Matt, if we get the Man-Thing in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, I will be fucking delighted. Just because people will be walking around going, "Oh, I love Man-Thing. Oh, my favourite Marvel character's Man-Thing."
Well, they did do that Man-Thing movie.
And it was a Marvel Studios production.
Mm-hmm.
It was one of the first ones they did on their own. That's weird, isn't it? Pre-Iron Man. The Man-Thing... The Man-Thing was like a prototype for Marvel Studios as a production house to make movies, and then after that they went away and made... they did some animated films, but then they made Iron Man with Paramount. Does that mean that Man-Thing was the nexus of all realities as far as we can concerned the MCU? Man-Thing started the journey that led to Iron Man.
One could posit that.
I don't mean they're going to tie the terrible straight-to-DVD Certificate 15 Man-Thing movie from 2005 into the MCU, but it's kind of weirdly poetic that Man-Thing started what we've ended up with now. That's kind of odd. And then we get a mid-credit sequence, the first one in the series, where Monica rips open the cellar door outside of Agnes's to obviously try and find Wanda and the missing kids. And Pietro rocks up and is like, "Swiper, no swiping," or something like that. Snooper's gonna snoop. And then it cuts to black and we're like, "Oh, what's gonna happen now?" Because you forget up to that point that Pietro's not shown up in the episode.
Nope.
He's been mentioned, but he never shows up. And then he rocks up in the mid-credits. It's like, what? I dug it. It felt like the perfect Act 3 has begun, motherfuckers, here we go episode.
We're in the end game now.
Yeah. I love it. It makes me happy. Long may it rain for at least 2 more weeks.
But then, only a couple more weeks after that before we get Falcon and Winter Soldier.
Oh, fuck yes. Yes, bitch.
And only mere moments before we read this week's emails.
This week's emails. This week's emails.
Also, some emails from previous week, so we've not got to.
Who's left an email in the inbox? We'll be checking it in a sec.
This is a chunky one.
Chunky McGee.
This one comes from our Doctor Who correspondent, Sam.
Right, everybody, take your medication. In we go.
Says, "Hello lads, it's me, Sam, and I'm back."
Hey, Sam.
So, Chris, you want Good Big Finish to get well? Good job, I'm here. On the tube, I said, "Doctor Who, the Stones of Venice." You and not Chris will love this. The Doctor and Charlie decide to take a well-deserved break for the monotony of being chased, shot at, and generally suffering antisocial behaviour at the hands of others. And so they end up in Venice, well into Charlie's future, as the great city prepares to sink beneath the water for the last time. It's so good.
Sorry, is this email a crossover with my YouTube show Doctor Who review?
I think it is. He's also recommending...
this is like an MCU project. It makes sense on its own, but if you did the required reading, it makes even more sense.
He's also recommending the short trips.
I got them. I've got all 4 of them. I bloody love them. The original short trips.
Forever Fallen.
Releases. Oh, yeah, there's been other ones since, hasn't there?
Yeah.
No, I've got the original 4 CDs. CDs, boys and girls, are like Spotify, but they're shaped like coasters.
And about this...
And if your internet's down, you can still listen to them.
About this one, Sam says, "So until now, an offered chance from the Doctor to stop, or he will kick your bloody ass. This has never stopped the villain schemes. Until now, the android armies, the powerful space stations, the mind control rays have gone unchecked to disastrous effect. Until now, but then what happens? The bad guy stops, or is he?" It's free on the Big Finish website, apparently. Because it's performed by Nicholas Briggs. But it looks like it's a 7th Doctor story. And then number 3...
Hello, it's me, the 7th Doctor, as played by Nicholas Briggs.
Number 3 is The Memory Cheats, which is a 2nd Doctor story. Performed by Wendy Padbury.
Oh, yay.
Zoe Herriot remembers everything, but she remembers nothing. A genius with instant recall, Zoe's mind has been purged of her memories of travelling with the Doctor and Jamie in the TARDIS, and years later she's in deep trouble, persecuted by a mysterious company that has evidence she has travelled in space and time, except Zoe knows they're wrong. aren't they? But if that's the case, why is there proof that Zoe was in Uzbekistan in 1919? Can the memory cheat? Now, just a warning, you may need to listen to Echoes of Grey. I didn't know this, but I think you don't. Your choice. And we're done for this week. So bye. And then a lovely animated gif of the second Doctor and Jamie being all snuggly.
Oh, they're getting very close there.
Oh, yes. Yes.
So Jamie!
Jamie!
Oh, Jamie! Jamie, no!
Jamie!
Oh, yes! More Jamie, please! Jamie! Kiss me, Jamie, kiss me, Jamie.
Ah, yes. The hit single by Patrick Troughton.
Who's that snogging Fraser Hines? It was Agatha all along.
This one comes in from...
Oh, God.
Cleo?
Cleo, hello, Cleo.
I just wanted to raise some points.
Ooh. That sounds filthy.
Greetings to the Big Damn Boys. Just had a few points regarding your segment on the Falcon and the Winter Soldier last week. Obviously, this was more than a couple of weeks ago at this point.
A couple of weeks back, yeah.
Number one,
Super Bowl episode.
Number one, Erin Kellyman's character is a woman named Carly Morgenthau, leader of the Flag Smashers, and seemingly not Sin, for now at least. Well, I think she'd probably be the closest the MCU gets to Sin.
Could do Sin. They could do an Iron Man with the villains, where they sort of mash villains up.
Yeah.
But yeah, fair enough. At least we know what the credit be.
Georges St. Pierre is coming back as Batroc Zilliper in the series.
Hey!
I think we mentioned that he was.
I think we said we hoped he would.
Yeah.
So that's good. That's pretty good. That makes me happy.
And 3, wouldn't Red Skull having a daughter imply Palpatine, Rise of Skywalker style, that he fucked?
Oh shit. True, but Hugo Weaving Red Skull has the opportunity to make his face look like acceptable for someone on the pull. Do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
it's. Then again, maybe he met someone who was like, "Do you know what I love, Herr Schmidt? What? I love men with no skin on their face." And a green screen blob on the bridge of their nose to be removed in post-production.
I do love a faceless man.
Do not really turns me on. Men who have sidekicks who are tiny German scientists with round glasses. You fancy Arnim? No. My fetish specifically is for taller men who hang out with smaller men. You wouldn't care if that man had a red skull for a face. If anything, I wouldn't care. You're too tall. You're too tall for me to notice.
I don't like short kings. I just like my men to be around short kings.
I fancy people who stand short kings.
Ladies and gentlemen, we stand Toby Jones. This is a
Coming soon to Pornhub.
A long gestating email.
Anybody who loves tall men who hang out with short men.
From our dear friend Charles.
Charles! Is he the future Charles?
No. We
Not
are
them.
the future, not them.
We are the future Charles, yeah.
And he says, bonjour, aloha, ciao. And hello,
Hello, boyo.
My big damn boys. 1,000 apologies for the huge gap in correspondence. To take something of a sabbatical from the show, I still haven't quite caught up with The Mandalorian, an issue I'm rectifying with slightly less enthusiasm as I had done with WandaVision due to the controversy therein, which I'm sure you've covered by now. We have indeed.
In fact, even in this episode.
Yes. With the recent news of Pedro Pascal taking the reins of Joel in the HBO Last of Us adaptation, continuing his track record of being the prince of prestige genre television, it got me thinking. What would you like to see from this adaptation? What scenes from the original source are essential for you? Where would you like them to deviate? Was there ground left uncovered in the original game that you'd like to see fleshed out on television? With Bella Ramsey as Ellie, a canny if unexpected choice for my money, who would you like to see amongst the supporting players? Tess, David, et al. I hope you're both well. I miss you dearly and was so hoping to have been able to join you again by now to waffle until our brain batter ran dry. Alas, it is a good thing, so wait, I must. P.S. Thanks for reminding me about Persona 5 on a previous episode, Chris. I've been meaning to get around for it for an age, and your mention of the other week finally got me to pip for the Royal version. I spent almost an entire month doing absolutely bugger all else and have since platinumed it. So thank you for giving me something to fill the void whilst work was stood down. Tatty bye, rough men.
That's impressive. It's a minimum 80 hours long. That's impressive, and that's just like playing through it.
He had nothing else to do. Right,
bleeding hell, Charles.
HBO Last of Us. What do we want to see from HBO Last of Us? Well, I'll tell you what. I was thinking about this.
They kill Joel in the opening 5 minutes, and just to stick it to everyone who had a complaint. There you go. There you go.
You could definitely flesh out some of the relationships by adding some flashbacky stuff, particularly for Joel and Tommy. And their relationship.
Yeah.
Possibly for Joel and Tess as well. Lucy Lawless should be Tess.
Yes!
So there we go.
Yeah,
that's that one sorted. I'm trying to think of some of the casting for some of the other characters, but yeah, Lucy Lawless should be Tess. There we go. That's a given.
Yeah.
There's nothing I necessarily want.
Really good practical effects for the clickers.
Yeah.
Like, if you're gonna do them, don't CGI them, because if we want to see that, we can see it in The Last of Us, the video game.
Yeah.
Like, give us some really freaky... And give us some clickers that are unique to the adaptation as well.
Yeah.
Like...
Well, that's what I think. I think you should keep the sort of big beats of the game, but also you've got... It takes place over the course of a year, so you've got these big skips of time where you could, like, have them on the road and then maybe fill in that sort of narrative gap with flashbacks from it to either Ellie or Joel's past that helped that sort of inform their connection or inform what they've been through to this point. Because you do get some teasing of Tommy and Joel saying that it did terrible things to survive and to get the way they are. But then it also helps, the fact that Tommy used to be a Firefly can also help you flesh out the sort of what the Fireflies deal is and why they're good or why they're bad, depending on which way you look at it. I would like to see The Last of Us Part 2 seeded.
Because if they're going to adapt that too, sow those seeds in the first story. Yeah. And
it would
prepare this audience for stuff that the other audience were kind of like taken aback by seeding it subtly.
Because I think that if you... So spoilers for Last of Us Part 2 if you bothered about Last of Us Part 2 spoilers.
It's really long, and you're going to suck at playing guitar.
So Abby, the other playable character, is the daughter of the surgeon you kill at the end of the first game as Joel.
Yeah.
And that's the reason she's going after Joel at the start of the game, why she tortures and kills him at the start of the game. And it's sort of and that, of course, in turn is the reason that Ellie comes after her. Last of Us Part 2 is, for better or worse, how it handles it is going to be dependent on the way you experience
personal
the game.
Experience, yeah.
Then it's a game about cycles of revenge.
Mm-hmm.
And I certainly spent a lot of watching Keeks play through it, being like, Ellie, just turn back, for Christ's sake. And I think that's what they're going for.
But toward the end, where like time has passed.
Yeah.
And then she still goes back.
Yeah.
Like, oh, for fuck's sake.
Why are you doing this?
Yeah. Like you're relatively happy and you have a relatively safe existence. Stop. Just
stop
fucking
now.
stop. It's I mean that's the thing. It's about the cyclical nature of vengeance and so if you're gonna do the second game in the series, really build.
Well, what I would be thinking is to flesh out that group of Fireflies.
Yeah,
like Abby and her father, sort of parallel their relationship. So, and then you end up with those sort of two characters on a collision course.
Yeah.
So you have those two characters developed, and it's not until you have that confrontation in the operating theatre that you realise that the two groups of characters have come together.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
But so I think you could really, unless they're going to do it as a single season, if they want to plan to do multiple seasons of it, I think that's something you can use to sort of flesh it out a bit further. Let's have a think about casting. I'm just thinking about characters in that first game.
Because I agree in terms of the story beat. If you're just adapting the first game, then either plan out like the 2 seasons that are going to adapt to the first game, hit those key points, but use the medium to explore avenues that didn't happen. Like, if it takes place over the course of a year, say you've got 6 episodes a season, if 3 of those episodes, 3 or 4 of them touch solidly on the story of the game per season, that gives you 2 extra episodes worth of length to tell stories that didn't happen in the game.
Yeah.
So at least it's like... Because my biggest bugbear with all video game adaptations to movie or TV is that even the good ones, which are few and far between, but even the good ones, I come out of the back of it and I go, well, I think I would have enjoyed that more if I was playing it. Or I enjoyed that more when I played it than I did watching it. So very few of them kind of tell a spin-off or elaborate on the source material in a way that makes it feel like a valid reason for it to be made beside money and viewing figures. So if The Last of Us takes place over a year and we don't see that entire year in the game, show us more of that year.
Yeah, I think that's kind of the way to go.
Yeah, as long as well as it ties in thematically to everything, so that it just reinforces the characters, the relationships, the arcs for everyone, and it's not just Monster of the Week sort of stuff. But that being said, make some clickers and stuff that like don't feature in the games. Give the show some things that are completely unique to the show. Yeah. Do an episode set completely in the past, like tell the Firefly story and everything. Like do that, and you know, like go that far. Like 1 week you just tell a story set like before the events of the main narrative of the first game, and you spend a whole episode on that. But at the same time, I'm also not gagging to run to this because I'm bored of zombie TV, and I know The Last of Us isn't
it's zombies and all,
strictly zombie. Yeah, but it kind of is. Like, it's a bunch of people in overgrown buildings and estates being really bored or really stressed or becoming cannibals and trying to survive while zombies attack them. And I'm like, you got to do something pretty fucking unique to make me give a shit. Like, I like The Last of Us. I played The Last of Us and I liked it, but I just, you know.
No, I understand what you mean. I understand what you mean completely.
It's like Ratchet and Clank. The Ratchet and Clank film was lovely, but it was just the cutscenes with some additional bits of the reboot game, which was a much more fulfilling experience. Yeah. So
I think you've really got to focus on the relationships between the characters, with Joel and Ellie being at the course of that, but also pull the stuff in from the Left Behind DLC and sort of establish Ellie and Riley's relationship. I'm not sure about casting for Riley. I'm trying to think. Give a young mixed race actress.
Maybe that could be the task for these here listeners.
Yeah.
If you'll be so curious as to the Last of Us TV show, and you think, you know, who would make for a pretty solid cast for the recurring characters?
Yeah, young black actress for Riley, for Ellie's flashbacks. We already know Lucy Lawless is going to play Tess. Who's going to play Tommy? Because he's Joel's younger brother.
Yeah.
But and immediately I go, Owen Wilson. Like, in a serious role, Owen Wilson.
Yeah, could he pass as younger than Pedro?
Yeah, but he's not. He's like 7 or 8 years. He's like 7 or 8 years older than Pedro Pascal.
Yeah.
So now I'm thinking Wyatt Russell.
Ooh.
But he's like...
Ooh, he and Pedro actually have kind of a similar profile.
Yeah. And he's
I could buy them as relatives.
And conceivably they're both going to be aged up. Because Pedro Pascal is not in his late 50s. Which Joel is in the main story. So that could work, because Wyatt Russell's only 35. Bill. You know who'd be good as Bill? I'm just going to double check his name. I think... What's his name?
Live research happening, folks. Research happening right now.
His name is David Denman.
David Denman?
He's the dad in Brightburn.
Oh, shoot! Yes! He's great as well. Like,
Yeah.
I agree with this just on the basis of wanting to see him in more things.
I think he'd be really good as Bill.
God, I love Brightburn. It was fucking grim.
It's
It was
great,
horrible.
isn't it?
I loved it. It was horrible, and I loved it. Like the Mortal Kombat trailer. It's horrible, and I loved it.
I would like... You know who would like as... Oh, what's the name? The Firefly lass. Is it Nadine? Nadine? No. It's not Nadine. That's the last...
Firefly lady.
Yeah, that's the last from... I'm thinking of the last from Uncharted. Lost Legacy.
Yes.
What is her fucking name? It's been ages since I played The Last of Us. Marlene.
Marlene. Marlene. Marlene.
Marlene.
Marlene.
Marlene.
I'm begging Witcher.
I
cast somebody good.
would like as Marlene. Judy Smollett from Birds of Prey.
Ooh, yeah. Oh, she was good. Yes.
Yeah.
Again,
She's also
just
in
casting
Lovecraft
that's made me
Country,
go,
which was
I want
great
to
in.
see more of them. Yeah, I've still not
Yes.
watched that. Is it all on Now TV now to watch together?
I don't know if it's all on Now TV. I don't have the Now TV anymore, but it's
yeah,
out.
they keep cycling stuff. Twilight Zone Series 2 has shown up again.
It's out on DVD.
Good, because I missed 5 of them.
It's out on
So-
home video because they've got it in Asda.
Asda, we're not sponsored, but if they'd like to sponsor us, force people to wear masks, you fucks.
Sam and Henry.
Come again?
Sam and Henry. The brother and
No, thank you.
The two brothers who Joel and Ellie run into, and then the younger one gets infected, and the other one kills himself.
So how old are we talking?
Late 20s, early 30s for Henry, if I've got them the right way around, and then like 14 for Sam, same age as Ellie. No, like 12, 14. I think he's like a year or so younger than Ellie, because there's a whole thing where it's like he sees a toy, like a cool robot toy, and he's like, but he doesn't pick it up. Then Henry's like, "Oh no, you're too young, you're too old."
There comes a time to put away
Yeah.
childish things.
But he's not a child. He's clearly a teenager.
But he's not had a childhood.
Yeah.
Because this has been going on for like... How many years has it been... By the time of The Last of Us, how many years has it been happening?
20 years.
Yeah, so
So
he's not had a childhood
Yeah.
ever.
Ellie was born after the outbreak. Ellie was born in the post-apocalypse.
Yeah, because that's the whole thing, isn't it? Of like, she's immune. Is that evolution? Is it some kind of key?
It seems to just
Where
be a
could
twist
this
of fate,
be?
because apparently we've not heard of anyone else being immune. Even as of the end of The Last of Us Part 2, so...
Will they ever get to answering it?
Sam and
Probably not.
Henry. Go with, what's his bloody name now? Sorry, I know this is fascinating. I'm just trying to think of...
No, go for it. Hey, there are people who are deep into this lore listening right now who are going, I wonder if he's going to pick who I've picked.
John David Washington for Henry.
Okay. Oh, I'm again. Just you're mentioning people. You're mentioning people that I just want to see in more things.
Or Jovan Adipo.
Or what do I know?
Actually, no, Jovan Adipo is probably a better shout for that. He's the leading overlord. We talked about it because he's in The Stand as well.
Oh yes. Oh, for fuck's sake!
And he was
Can you be a casting director?
And he was also Will Reeves in the Watchmen series.
I still haven't watched that.
Oh, mate, Watchmen is so good. It's so fucking good. Yeah. So now the challenge will be to find like a young teen, a young black teen actor who can sort of play his younger brother. To play Sam. But yeah, those are some casting things I'm throwing out. Because that's what I did.
Give me a trailer and let Matt cast it, and I'll watch it. Because at the minute I'm just like, sure, it exists. I could just play it though. So if you at least bring in some talent of this caliber and show me that they're going to do something a bit different.
So, I mean, if you're gonna do it, expand the story. Give us flashback stuff for Joel, for Ellie, Joel and Tommy's relationship, Ellie and Riley's relationship. I think that thing of like whenever you meet a new character, sort of flashing back to the first time that they meet Joel or whatever, if they've got history or something like that, and sort of interspersing it, I think you can sort of build out that sort of world a bit more.
Expand that shit.
Yeah. Oh, and David, the weird creepy cannibal guy.
Yes.
David Tennant.
Yes. Yes. Yeah, because I could believe him being all kind of like considerate when Ellie's in the cell and stuff, and being like, no, it's not like when he's giving her the food. That scene really freaked me out.
Yeah, it's a freaky
because the food is like, no, honestly, it's not meat. It's not that meat. He's been hospital, and then having to fucking bludgeon him with a bottle in the bar, like while he's not looking, is horrible, really tense, and you should never have to play as a very young girl trying to kill a cannibal who's trying to shoot you with a shotgun. It's like, this is horrifying. If they can make it scary as well, that's a win. Like, don't suffer the fate of things like The Walking Dead, where the horror's just sort of there, but it's not really frightening.
Yeah.
Like, be scary.
I mean,
one of the things that makes that first game brilliant is like every encounter with someone who is far more dangerous than you feels like you could die if you make one wrong decision.
I mean,
it's tense.
If you've seen Chernobyl, you'll know Craig Mazin can do tense.
Yeah.
So, we'll see what he does with it.
Don't kill a dog, please. You've killed enough in Chernobyl.
Oh, there's going to be dead dogs. Left, right, and centre.
There's going to be dead dogs.
Oh, yes, there will be dogs. Dead dogs.
The Last of Us, there will be dead dogs. Coming soon to HBO.
Righto, gang. Thanks for joining us for another Big Damn Cast. It's been lovable host.
A podcast.
The big podcast. You can, of course, get in touch with us. Give us some email ranting. Send in your fan castings for Last of Us.
Hit us up.
bigdamcontact@gmail.com. Tweet us on at BigDamnCast. Head over to twitch.tv/BigDamnStream for Big Damn Stream.
Content. Yeah. Content.
Streaming, obviously. And if you are in a position to support us and you feel like doing so, you can do that over at twitch.tv, over at patreon.com/BigDamnCast.
I mean, you can do it twitch.tv/BigDamnStream if you want. Subscriptions are very much welcome.
So, yeah, be good to yourselves and each other.
Yeah.
And we'll see you. We'll be in your ears next week.
Like a parasite. Wait, no.
Yes, no, like a parasite.
Oscar winning.